Hi guys, Ryan Fowler here with Teresa K. Another fun-filled, fact-filled episode of Inner Masculine Live. And we got a good one today because we're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about how women love men, truly how men love women. Probably mostly men watching that. Ladies, if you're watching, welcome to the show. So Teresa... the thing I like about Teresa, among many things, is Teresa, it really tells it straight how it is. In fact, I talk to her on subjects, and she tells me stuff that sounds like it came from Rolo's mouth. And I'm like, damn, you just admitted to that? But she's not even admitting to stuff. She's just telling how it is, So, Teresa, I had a conversation with you briefly before this. We're going to go over Iron Rule of Tomassi number 6 about how women love men. And she pretty much totally agreed with it and then gave your own spin, which I thought was very enlightening. So this is going to be a great episode today. Before we get started, my ebook is almost done. So for you guys that are looking forward to it, oops, nope, that's the wrong one. Let me just share this screen real quick. You can get a free ebook on how our subconscious mind works. And, oh, darn it, it's not coming up. Hold on. All you got to do is go, if I can find it, here, innermasculine.com/free-ebook, just like it says on the bottom of my screen. Get on this waiting list. It's going to drop Sunday, Monday. The ebook's going to drop Sunday, Monday. Everyone knows their subconscious, what the subconscious mind. You've heard of the term. Most of you know it's incredibly important. 95% of our behavior is dictated by our subconscious, but most people don't know how does our subconscious influence us. What's going on with that? How does our subconscious mind work? What is a subconscious program? What's up with anxiety, limiting beliefs, procrastination, self-sabotage? We'll talk about addiction too. Everything else that helps hold you back, keeps you stuck, and you like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for me to approach that attractive girl? Why is it so hard? Why do I have all this fear of failure and risk? Why can't I just do the work? What's keeping me stuck? Well, for me, it's not keeping me stuck. I've optimized my subconscious. I'm moving forward. Teresa's moving forward. When you get your subconscious in order, your productivity goes up, happiness goes up, confidence goes up, so many things goes up. This is going to give you the blueprint as to what's really going on, how your subconscious mind works. And it's absolutely free. Just go here and then just pop in your email. Boom. And the guy's going to drop Sunday, Monday-ish. And you will get that. No charge. Just go here and pop in your email. So with that said, Teresa K., introduce yourself. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ryan. Congratulations on your ebook dropping. You're just leveling up on so many areas of your life, including the marketing and your business model. I cannot wait to see where you're going to be in 3 months. It's really exciting.
Yeah, we have a lot of irons in the fire, and you have an iron in the fire with me. We're working on some stuff too. So
we are very exciting.
Okay, very good. So I was talking to you a little bit before about love. I don't know if you want, and we're talking about how men and women love each other. I think at the end, Teresa, we have to go into self-love because that has such a huge impact on ideal relationships between men and women. I mean, if you don't have self-love, your relationship with the opposite sex, if you're in a relationship or you're trying to get into one, is going to be severely screwed up. Would you agree?
I believe you can only love another to the depth that you love yourself.
Okay, cool. I would agree with that.
that.
So we are going to dive into that, but we are going to dive into how men and women love each other, and it is different. And we're going to take a look at Iron Rule of Tomassi number 6. Let me share this with the audience, and we're going to comment on this and use this as kind of a springboard to talk about how men and women love each other. So here we go. Most of you guys probably know who Rolo Tomassi is. If you don't, he wrote a book a long time ago, 10 plus years ago, The Rational Male. And he has 9 iron rules of Tomassi. These rules, Rolo Tomassi had, it was either a brother-in-law or a cousin who self-deleted. after his wife divorced him. Not only divorced him, but just zeroed him out and just quickly went on to another relationship like nothing had ever happened. And the guy self-deleted, and that deeply affected Rollo. And so he has written a book on male-female intersexual dynamics. He talks about the female dual mating strategy, which is pretty much a preeminent model for female mating strategies in evolutionary psych. That 9 Iron Rules of Tomassi are designed to keep men from getting in a relationship that could, frankly, destroy them if things went worse. Now, everything's on a spectrum. Most men don't get destroyed by the relationships, but men can get severely harmed. You know, women wreck men all the time. And if women do wreck men, the man almost certainly, either through ignorance or not knowing how to love himself or his own toxicity or trauma, could have prevented it, and maybe partially contributed to it. Probably did, honestly. But these 9 Iron Rules are designed to help men navigate relationships with women so that they don't end up like Rollo's, cousin or brother-in-law. I'll have to research that, who self-deleted, so that they do stay safe and don't make these huge mistakes that's going to lead to heartbreak in relationships. So number 6 here, women are utterly incapable. Now, Rollo has clarified, he never said women cannot love men. Women absolutely can and do love men. So keep that in mind when I read this. But he says women are utterly incapable of loving a man in the way that a man expects to be loved. In its simplicity, this speaks volumes about the condition of men. Interesting, now he's talking about this is something about men here, not about women's ability to love, but men's expectations. It accurately expresses a pervasive nihilism that men must either confront and accept or be driven insane in denial for the rest of their lives when they fail to come to terms with the disillusionment. Women are incapable of loving men in a way a man idealizes as possible, in a way he thinks he should be capable of. Now, I'll give you guys a little bit of inner game here. The first ideal woman in your life is your mom. And men, all children want their mothers to unconditionally love them. But as an adult, that's not how it is between man and wife or man and woman in any other sort of committed relationship. Your girlfriend, your wife is not your mom. It's not the same dynamic. It's a different dynamic. I think a lot of men get stuck on that dynamic, especially men who are not unconditionally loved by their mom. They have this wound in them, whether they know it or not, that, leads to people pleasing or just whatever it leads to, and expecting these women to unconditionally love men like their mom. And it's just not how that's a mess. If you have that expectation, it's just an absolute mess. That's not how we're wired. Teresa, what is your take, and can you comment on how women do love men in light of this Iron Rule we've read?
So many things to unpack here, Ryan. A ton, right? And
I'll let you have the floor for the next 30 minutes.
Well, I don't think I need 30 minutes.
If you wanted to, but you could talk 30 minutes straight. Go ahead.
I just want to say a couple things. Men can get destroyed by women, absolutely, and women can get destroyed by men.
100%.
And so it's both ways for sure. Mm-hmm. And to level it up another level, really nobody can destroy us but ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? But a relationship where we put so much of ourselves into, and we lose ourselves in a relationship,
enmeshment, all of that,
right?
No boundaries. Yes. All of that.
We can say the relationship destroyed us. We can use those words, and truly no one can destroy us.
The relationship exposed weaknesses that you refuse to heal.
Right. And what are triggers, right? So staying up here for a moment, what are triggers? I believe triggers are opportunities to reveal what has not been healed.
Yep.
Right. And if someone is destroying you, destroying can be a trigger. It reveals what has not been healed within ourselves. And when you talk about the template for love for men and women, right, it's our parents. And I haven't met too many people in my life, in the world, really. And I have these conversations, and I love this conversation. So I have it often, that really felt loved by their parents unconditionally,
Yeah.
that really survived childhood in a way that was empowering, and they were emotionally, really, really healthy.
Parents are imperfect.
Parents are imperfect. Love is
Yep.
imperfect, right? The human ability to love and feel loved, there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
I was away this week at a business conference slash vacation, and I had a wonderful conversation with a young man. He was 30 years old, and I love
Was
going
he hitting
deep.
on you? Just kidding.
He actually was, which was kind of funny when he found out how old I was. It was hilarious. But anyways, I go deep. I'm not into chit chat. We went deep, found out about his horrific childhood and how he has survived and actually thrived regardless of his childhood. And there wasn't a lot of love from his parents. So want to set the stage there. Now, for Rollo Tomassi and what he's talking about, women incapable of loving men, how men receive that love.
Yeah. Men do want unconditional love. We idealize it.
Love. And I think it begs the question, is unconditional love realistic from another human?
It's realistic from one person, yourself. That's
Yes.
the only realistic.
And I believe in God. I believe God loves me unconditionally. And I don't believe I've gotten to the point where I can love myself unconditionally, and I'm getting a lot closer, right?
Yeah.
And every day there's another,
get there. We do.
There's another layer that's revealed of where I need to love myself more, right? But to expect unconditional love when we don't love ourselves unconditionally, and the human limitation of actually loving someone else unconditionally. I think even a child, do they love their parents unconditionally? They love their parents for survival, right?
Yeah, true.
So
I think I think all children want unconditional love from their parents.
They do. I think they want that.
Is it okay if I explain the psych-evil reason for that? The evolutionary
Absolutely.
So there's an evolutionary psychological reason we want unconditional love from our parents. So as babies and children, we're born in this world. We know instinctively we cannot survive on our own. We're just babies. We're little toddlers. We don't know where to get food, shelter, clothing, all of that. If you're out in the wilderness as a 2-year-old, no one's taking care of you, you're going to die. You're straight up going to die. So we have two belief systems. We have evolved this way in relation to our parents. Number one, we idealize our parents because we need to feel that they are wise, powerful, strong, benevolent, intelligent, and capable of taking care of us. Because if not, the alternative is maybe they can't take care of us. Maybe we die. That's terrifying. So as children, we're literally looking up to them. We're tiny, they're huge. So we literally just choose automatically to idealize them because then we feel safe. They're ideal. They're able to take care of me. I'm safe. Cool. Now I can not be freaked out. The second one, though, is just because our parents can take care of us doesn't mean they will. So children need feedback from their mom and dad that their mom and dad want them, love them, value them, because if they do, the parents will take care of them. If they get feedback, mom and dad ignore me, mom and dad yell at me, they beat me, they don't want me, they don't love me, then they might abandon me, and then I might die. So what happens as children, if we get feedback that they don't want us, love us unconditionally, so that they will take care of us, we will then say, here's the options now. Option number one, I'm powerless, there's nothing I can do, they might just leave them, nothing I can do. Option number two, they want to take care of me, but they're really not ideal. That's off the table. Option number three, there must be something I can do to get them to want and love me so that they won't abandon me, so that they will take care of me. So now the kid is like, what can I do? I'm getting feedback. My parents ignore me, or they beat me, or they criticize me. They're not happy with whatever. What can I do to get their love, approval, unconditional love, that they want me, so that they will take care of me? And this is actually where toxic shame starts, because after a while, it's like, I've tried everything. They still ignore me. I've tried everything. You know, you might be a problem child just to get the attention of parents who are ignoring you. Sometimes your mom and dad are fighting with each other. It's like, man, if they break up, I only have one parent now. Now I'm screwed. I got half the caretakers now. So we might cause problems just to get the parents to focus on us and stop fighting each other. We may try and please them. If they're criticizing us, we may try and do better, not realizing that, no, they're not perfect. They're actually pretty screwed up. And if they're yelling at us, it may have nothing to do with us, but we don't interpret it that way. So I want my mom to love me. I want my dad to love me. There must be something I can do, not realizing it's probably not you. It's probably them just being screwed up parents. And after a while, we say, I've tried everything. They still don't want me, love me. I just must not be good enough. That's the core of toxic shame that 90% of people have to some degree and messes up their life with all sorts of things. That's why I have a show and I fix that. And then people take off and it, you know, you hear all these amazing testimonials and stories of people changing their lives because we get this core thing fixed. But this is actually the root of if a man doesn't feel like he's unconditionally loved growing up, and he doesn't know how to love himself because no one taught that to him. Now he's looking for an ideal woman to unconditionally love him, and it causes problems.
In a nutshell, Ryan. Well said.
A big freaking nut, but it fits in a really big nut there. So.
Oh, yeah. And it's the core of most emotional issues, disorders, mental whatever you want to put under that, psychology, emotional, spiritual, what you just said.
Yeah. So how do women love? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's the basis of so much of that. Other than, you know, something genetic or, you know, some chemical imbalance or whatever, right? I think what you said is absolutely the reason, the foundation of most people's emotional, spiritual, psychological issues.
And expectations for love. Yeah.
And expectations. 100%. And I would put under that performance science as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, performance science includes all of the above, right? And there's so much information out there around performance science. So I call it relationship science, dating science, performance science. Everything you just said impacts those three major areas of our life.
100%. So what's your take? How do women love men romantically in relationships, mate bonding, pair bonding? What's the woman's viewpoint? You know, because you've grown up, you're an attractive woman and you've had lots of options. So because you're attractive, you know, so how have you approached it? How do you think women approach it? Loving men.
So hopefully it's more than just because I'm attractive. And thank you.
And wise, you know.
And thank you.
I already gave you the plug about you being red pill and all that.
Okay. All right.
I guess I have to say it again.
The red pilling can work for me and against me also. And
yeah,
that's okay. It's a filter, right?
Yeah.
My position and my thoughts and my way of looking at the world is a filter. Mm-hmm. It's either a match for someone or it's not. And that's okay. Yep. Right. But I think, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. The way what women need to feel loved is very different than what a man needs to feel loved. And to keep it, you know, PG, R-rated, and not X-rated.
You could go PG-13. Hard PG-13 here.
Yeah. I think for a man in a relationship, in a committed relationship, to feel loved, you know, what does he really need? He needs his basic physical needs met. And that includes, of course, sex. You know, if a man was to get sex on a regular basis, you know, daily, he would feel completely and totally loved, right? I mean, that would be that speaks love to that man, right?
Yeah, and I'll just kind of side comment on that. A man does not necessarily associate sex with love. Sometimes he just wants sex. But if a man's in a relationship and not getting sex, he does not feel loved. 100%. 100%. No way.
Doesn't matter what the woman is doing in that relationship, how much she's showing up, what she's doing. He is not going to feel loved.
And it's hurtful. She doesn't want me, you know, even though she might want him in other ways, but obviously not sexually. You know, it's an ego blow.
my experience in the dating world, and most of the people in my dating career, so to speak, are men that have had divorce, had a relationship, long-term relationship, kids, the whole bit. And what's brought to the table 9 times out of 10 is their expectations in their future relationship is absolutely sex. And they're bringing it front and center. And what that tells me immediately is what they didn't have in their original relationship or their main relationship. It's the first thing that they say.
Dropping facts right there.
That's what they say. And it just, it's just the truth. And as women in a long-term relationship, if we're not getting what we need or we want, that's the number one thing I think that women withhold on.
Yeah. And,
right?
Rule of Tomassi, he coaches guys, and he says the number one question he's asked by far is, how can I get my wife to sleep with me again? That's the number one question he gets. How can I get my wife to have sex with me again? Yeah.
And there's a meme going around on social media right now, which I think is really, really interesting. And I forget who started it, but it speaks of a man who, as soon as he's divorced, not all men, right? But as soon as he's divorced, he goes out and, improves on his grooming, buys a new wardrobe, starts working out, gets a trainer, gets a coach, like up levels his life, right? And the meme that's going around is, hey, buddy, why didn't you do this while you were married? Right?
Yeah, how much sex would he have kept getting? You think, how big of a factor would that be in him getting sex if he did that in the relationship, in the marriage?
Well, I often joke that a man wants a woman who is very well groomed and maintained and looks amazing, but for very little cost, right? They don't want to pay for all of that it takes for a woman to look great. And some men, and I know this because of my clients, right? In my financial services world, I've got men who spend as much money as women on their looks and their clothes and that lifestyle. And I've got men that I know haven't spent a dime in 30 years, right? They just don't put any money into that at all. And so, I think it's a very important part of a relationship, at least for me. I need a man who's groomed. I need a man who looks good,
stays in shape, all of that.
It's a standard. It's a standard. And so you asked a question before, which is, it had to do with a woman not wanting to date a guy that doesn't have a certain level of income, right? Or a certain level of assets. Do you remember what that question was?
So, what Rolo Tomassi says is women don't love ideally unconditionally just for the guy's amazing personality, who he is as a person, but a woman wants a man to bring certain things to the table. And I did a show on the 9 Iron Rules of Tomassi. This is number 6 we're talking about here. And on this one, I said, listen, from an evolutionary psychology standpoint, if a woman's pregnant, there's going to be several months she is impaired because of the pregnancy. Then there's going to be several months she's spending a lot of time taking care of the child. Couple that with the fact that women are physically weaker. I'm sorry, it's a fact. Women have evolved from a survival perspective to look for men to provide resources, because there's times when they are impaired in their ability. If you're 8 months pregnant, your ability to go out and pick berries is impaired in the tribe. Is that, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Needing protection from, the man is stronger, bigger. We have more, we're better at like tracking things spatially, there's a reason that the men's NBA performs at a higher level than the women's NBA. We're wired that way. We're the hunters, and so we have these things that enable, and it's on a spectrum. Sure. Can you find a woman out there that can beat 90% of the men? Yeah, she's an absolute outlier. But, by and large, this is how it is. So women have evolved to want men who can provide resources, because in the ancient tribal gatherer times, it's absolutely necessary because of these factors that I've just listed. So not all women, And if you're only doing short-term dating, maybe it's not as much as a factor. Maybe these girls just want a really hot guy if they're not looking for a relationship. But would you agree that when it comes to long-term mating prospects, you are looking for a guy who can provide a certain level of resources, just kind of like instinctively? What's your comment on that?
I think that's true for the traditional woman, the traditional, right, non-woke woman.
Yeah.
I think that's very true. I think there are a couple of things to unpack here to set the stage. Traditional women absolutely want a man that can provide. Now, what does that mean, right? They can date somebody who's providing at a certain level, and they'll settle for that because they have low standards or lower standards. And they can get involved with a man who can provide for them at a very high level. I think regardless of whatever level they're at, I think the way women love, it may never be enough, right? A man could never provide enough.
And unpack that. Why do you think that is, and how's that play out?
I don't know that I know how it plays out. I think there are women that absolutely can appreciate what a man provides. But a woman, I think, is wired many times in relationship where they're never satisfied. Like it's just never enough. There's a hole that they need filled in terms of providing and resource. Like, you can have an amazing lifestyle, and a woman will say, he doesn't take out the garbage, on a regular basis. I have to nag him and I have to ask him to take the garbage on a regular basis.
And it's like 99% of everything else he's doing great.
Right. Like,
you focus on that thing. So
exactly. And so there's always something, I think, that most women will find, regardless of what standard they're at.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Today's woman, to contrast that.
Yeah. Do you think it's worse today? That's almost a rhetorical question, but go ahead. In Western society,
it's absolutely worse. I think the expectation for a relationship today is ridiculous. Your man's got to be all these things and more. And the women also, it's expected that they're.
Yeah, it has to be super mom and 6-figure career woman. It's ridiculous. It's unattainable.
It's and have emotional depth and be.
And attractive and all these things. Yeah.
All of it. I think it's so totally unrealistic. But there's also, I think, a very big imbalance that's going to be very apparent very quickly. And it's there with Black women. It's been there with Black women for a very long time. And that's that Black women have been making more money than Black men as a whole. For a very long time. They're more educated. They've got more of their life organized than the majority of the Black men. And you will hear Black women complain all day long that there are no good men for them.
Yeah.
In terms of a standard, there's not even an equal, because the number of women that are college educated and making a certain amount of money is much greater statistically than Black men.
Okay.
And I think all women are going to be finding this to be very true today. More women are graduating from college, graduating from graduate school, not necessarily in the sciences, but they're catching up. There are more women attorneys, CPAs, like in every aspect of.
And an issue there is if a woman makes $100,000 a year, most of them will not date down as far as income level.
They don't want to. They might because they have to.
They might because they have to, but they really don't want to.
Right.
And, straight up facts. This is how I am personally. I do want a woman, like when we're talking relationships, yeah, good looking girl, obviously. But I do want a woman who's kind, respectful. I do like a woman who's intelligent, because I can have more interesting conversations. And if you're going to live with this woman, hey, let's have some conversations where, we actually enjoy talking to each other. But as far as a woman's income, I don't give a shit. I flat out, and most guys do not give a shit at all. And these women are like, I make 6 figures. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm glad you're smart. I'm glad you're interesting. I don't care what you make. I make enough, you know?
It's
I'm
hilarious.
still paying for the dates, so who gives a shit?
It's kind of hilarious. And you guys want good looking because you're visual creatures. You're very visual creatures.
I spent years wondering about that. Why can't I just like a good girl, even if she's kind of homely? And I finally accepted this is how I'm biologically wired. And guess what? The women are wired a certain way, and they're following that too. But honestly,
the beauty is in the eye of the
90% of women, 90% of women who take care of themselves are attractive enough for most men.
Right.
Stay
And
in shape.
and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So what you would consider homely may not be homely for someone else, right?
Oh yeah, I know a guy, and he's like, I like this type of girl, and it's like, I don't like that at all. I like this other type. And he's like, yeah, she's cute, but I really like this type of girl. Yeah, so there is beauty in the eye of the beholder, absolutely.
And I know for a fact, and I've heard this over and over again, men will date any profession like the money does not matter, what they do does not matter, intelligence does matter, but not to put down servers in a restaurant.
Intelligence matters in long-term relationships. Short-term, we kind of don't care. We're like, how hot is she? How hot is she, and do we have fun?
Right.
Yeah.
A server, a teacher, an entrepreneur, like all of that. You guys will date whatever. You're absolutely.
And some guys will even marry those girls. It's just some guys like intelligent women for long term if they're also intelligent. Some guys don't care about that, you know. But
and if I was a guy, I've got to tell you, a woman entrepreneur. I guess it depends on the phase of life that they're in. But a woman entrepreneurship, business ownership takes up a lot of time. But so does having a job in corporate America. Like that's a whole nother, I think, conversation to unpack, right?
Yeah, we can have a whole nother show on some of the topics we're talking about.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to something you said. Women are never satisfied in many ways, or in some ways. Yeah. Most women are like that, if not all. It's, you tell me. But how the hell does a man manage that in a relationship? If she's never satisfied, let's say this guy is earning at least $65,000 a year. So he's, maybe not super wealthy, but doing okay, at least decent. And let's say he's in shape. Let's say he's well-groomed. Let's say he's non-alcoholic, doesn't beat or criticize or do any of that crap. He's not toxic. So he's an emotionally healthy guy. You make 65 grand a year, you probably top 40, 35%, of income earners. So he's a slightly above average. And he's got all his other ducks in a row. He goes to the gym 3 times a week. He's looking all right. Decent grooming, hygiene, all of that. That honestly, and let's say he's, average height, if that matters. I think it does to a point. So he's 5'9", 5'10", whatever. That guy right there is probably, if you consider these in shape and everything else, he's probably top 20% guy, because he's not just top 35, 40% income, but he has all these other ducks in a row. He's top 20% guy. So his wife isn't satisfied. How the hell does he manage it? Because if he up levels more, she still won't be happy. So how the hell does he manage it? You tell me.
That's a great question, Ryan, and one that I've never had an issue with from that perspective. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to tell that man.
Okay. How do you think a woman manages it? If she catches herself feeling dissatisfied, can she logically say, hey, listen, this guy's actually a pretty good guy. I'm feeling dissatisfied. How would she manage that?
I know a lot of women that have been in relationships, not necessarily that income bracket, right? But they were either making more money or they were unsatisfied with what their spouse was doing or making. And from the outside looking in, I can say there was a lot of stress and tension in that relationship. The man was not getting the sex that he wanted, and the woman was not getting the resources and the lifestyle and the security that she wanted.
Let's say the man does make more though.
Oh, no. In these cases, the men were making more for sure. It's just almost never enough. Like there's always a trip. There's always something else that they want, a college that they need to pay. Like there's always something, or he's not taking out the garbage, or he's not, providing. There's always something. And I think it goes back to communication and emotional healing for the woman and the man, and
Mhm.
having an understanding of how couples need to relate to each other
Yeah.
and what each person needs. I don't think it's an easy answer. And I think there needs to be, that awareness, that self-awareness. Hey, what do I want for my future? If I want a long-term relationship with this man, I need to make him feel loved, and I need to appreciate him for how he's showing up. Is he a good father? Is he taking care of our kids? Does he take care of me? Does he provide me with what I need emotionally? I can't get everything from one man. I know that. Women need to understand that. And men, they'd rather have the sex from their wives. And when they're not getting it, not all men, but when they're not getting it, they're going to be very frustrated, and they're not going to show up really happy on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I know a lot of men are very, very, very sad and unhappy in their relationships because from a physical perspective, their love language is sex. It's that sexual intimacy, and they're not getting it.
And the marriage rate now is 50%, used to be 95%. And it's like, why go? If you're in a sexless marriage or relationship, you are not in a monogamous relationship. You're in a zero-nogamous. You're in a nogamous relationship, right?
And the relationship, what you just said, the marriage rate is 50%, not divorce rate. We're talking about marriage rate. That's a whole nother show we can unpack.
Yeah. So I will just say the prevailing wisdom in the manosphere is number one of the ways to keep your woman happy is for her to know that you're not sleeping with other women, but other women are attracted to you and you can get them. And what your so what the kind of the dating coaches say for long-term relationships is, guys hold frame, they have boundaries that they, fair boundaries that they don't break. They, there's some things guys just draw a line on the sand on. Number two, don't argue, withdraw attention. So hold your boundaries, withdraw. And I'm not saying, you can have a discussion on some things, but there's actually this psychologist called Psychax, and he says most disagreements are not solved by discussion. So they talk about enforcing certain things. They talk about withdrawing attention and also being the type of man that your woman knows other women want you. And that's their knowledge, or their prevailing knowledge there is. They call that dread game, actually. And what is your take on that?
It's respect.
Yeah.
It's respect. At the end of the day, it's a man.
Well, that's the boundaries part. Here are my boundaries. If you're not going to respect them, I'm out.
Right.
I'm gone for a bit.
A man needs to feel respected, and a woman, I believe, needs to have a man that she respects and admires. And I'm sorry, this is controversial, but lead. Women,
100%.
Women in the dating science world, it's really funny. They all want men to plan the dates and to lead the dates, right? I mean, how obnoxious.
You're not 50-50 in that case.
No,
the man's
totally
doing the bulk of the work.
You want the man to lead, right? I mean, if a man comes to a woman and says, "Oh, well, what do you want to do for the date?" And let's figure this out. It feels like a wet noodle. Like there's no energy there of like being protected and provided and safe. And here's a man that's got his stuff going on, right? So we want that in a date, but we don't want that in a relationship. We don't want the man to lead in the relationship. I'm sorry.
Bullshit.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But to say as a woman that you want the man to lead in the relationship, that feels scary to a lot of women.
Yeah. The prevailing knowledge is 50-50 leadership in a relationship. And what that does is it sets you up to fight.
I think
sets you up for a power struggle when you disagree.
I think there are many ways for a woman to communicate what she wants without leading the relationship. And if the man is a good man and is has a good provider instinct, He's going to want to provide for the woman. So they both get what they want.
Okay. Now, let's say, what do you think are the conditions that must be met for a woman to love a man? Because we're talking about how women love men and men love women. I will say, if a man is attracted to a woman and he senses she genuinely desires him, and that reflects in the whole romantic sexual relationship aspect, then the dude does anything. Most guys, a good guy, now he's like, she's my girl and I'm going to take care of her. That's more or less how it is with men. It's like, if I'm attracted to her and she has burning desire for me, and it reflects in her actions, her attitudes, everything else, she's my girl, I'm her dude. Assuming, they're in this, committed relationship, and he's like, I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to sacrifice all of that. It's when he doesn't feel that things go south on his end. Or like you said, she just starts incessantly nagging, but that's just another sign that, that she doesn't have that burning desire. If she's a woman who constantly nags a man is a woman who's not happy with the man and doesn't have genuine desire for him either. I mean, would you agree?
It's disrespect.
Yeah, it is disrespect.
What does the nag say? The nag says, you're not taking care of my needs and you're incapable of taking care of my needs. And I need to tell you what I need because you're incapable of figuring out what I need. That's what nagging is, and nagging does.
Okay, so what does a man need to provide for a woman to love him? And then what does that love feel like to a woman? And how, if a woman really loves a man, how does she manifest it? And what does it feel like to her? And what does a man need to do to get that love?
I don't know.
It is conditional. Go ahead.
I don't know that I've got all those answers, but I know I can speak for me. I need to admire and be inspired by who my man is inside and out, right? That's really, really important to me. And if that kind of man can turn around and provide for me and take care of my heart, where I feel my emotional needs are taken care of and front and center, and he puts me on a pedestal, and I know that he's going to love and adore me, that to me is like they've got my devotion, and I don't give my devotion away very easily. And so
women adoring men is a key part. There's again, this channel Psychax, Dr. Ryan and Teresa talks about the best position is for the woman to adore you in a relationship. What do you think are the baseline things a man should have to get that respect, adoration, admiration? Maybe in a more general, what are some things that maybe most women would need from a man to have that admiration for him?
I believe they need to honor themselves. They need to respect themselves. They need to show up that way in the world. They need to be grounded in their masculinity. And I know that's subjective for some women. So
when a guy grooms well, it shows he respects himself.
Absolutely. Good grooming. I mean, that's just foundational, right? That shouldn't even be, but I know this is for a wide range of audience. And so basic grooming is absolutely foundational.
And right? fitness
and having clothes that look good and having an energy of groundedness, of masculinity, that
authentic confidence,
real confidence, not the fake stuff.
And we get the real confidence by putting it in you. That's the inside job part.
And emotional self-awareness.
Yeah.
Super important. When you're talking to someone who's not self-aware, it's such a turnoff. And for me, it's one of my highest values that I look for in a mate is self-awareness.
And this is what I help guys with all day, every day. Unconditionally loving yourself, believe in your ability of value, let go all that crap in you that doesn't serve you. And then you just got this authentic energy. You go after what you want because you don't have these fears and barriers holding you back. If there's nothing holding you back, you're going to go after what you want because you want it.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. It's what you feel in your core. I want this. No barriers. You go for it.
And a man
that is sexy as hell. Would you agree?
Totally. A man that's got game, a man that's got confidence and that's going after what he wants, that's so attractive, right? That's attractive.
can that make a woman more sexually attractive, or does she just want to be with him more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And knowing that your man is wanted by other women or other women find attractive, that, there's enough of a tension there that guess what happens? The woman wants to please the man and give the man what he wants, which is more sex. And there are two parts to what a man wants in terms of sex. The man wants sex for love, for sure. But a man also needs to know that he can please his woman. It's not just one way, it's both ways, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, he wants that genuine burning desire from her.
Yeah.
And the number one way for a man that is manifest is
sexually,
very enthusiastic sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. So, all right. So we're unpacking this here. So if a man, let me ask you this. If a man is financially successful, what kind of attraction can that generate? Does that make a woman more sexually interested, or she just wants to pair bond with him to get those resources? What's that feel like to a woman when she sees a guy is a woman more attracted to the fact that he's on his purpose, on his game, he's determined, he's kicking ass, or is it, oh damn, he drives a Porsche, he wears a $2,000 suit? How does this play out in a woman's eyes when she sees, what do you think is more, is it all important? Do you get points for every little thing? Is a woman attracted to a man, but not sexually, but still wants to be with him, gravitate because she likes him, but not in a sexual way, when maybe he's not good looking, but he's on his purpose, on his money, makes the money? All that, is she going to be sexually attracted even if he's not super good looking, but is ticking all these other boxes off? How's that play out?
I think that's a value system, and that's specific to the woman. There are some women who don't mind being with a much older man who can provide for them. There's those jokes that, you see these pictures online of these, very out of shape men, and very old men with these beautiful young girls, right? Like, how does that happen? And of course, the man's got a lot of money. Do you think the girl
just wants some money, or is it possible she's actually into him?
Anything's possible. And I always ask the question, well, what if he didn't have any money? Would she be with him? Right. Yeah. Number one. And number two, those women that are in those relationships for the resources and the money, I think they work very, very hard for their money.
Yeah.
I think it's a value system, personally. For me, there's some things that are important. I need a man with game, and I'm not necessarily interested in the Porsche and the $2,000 suits and all the other stuff. To me, that actually goes against my values to a certain degree. Why are they spending all that money unless they've got so much of it to look a certain way? That suggests something to me that might be different, right? That might suggest to me, I grew up in Miami. A lot of people wore their money and didn't have a lot of money. So for me, that's a little bit of a flag. Like, are they hiding the fact that they don't have game, or they don't have any money? Or are they investing their money elsewhere? And they look good, but that's just not a priority for them. I know a lot of millionaires next door who look good, but aren't driving the Porsche and aren't.
Yeah, I know a guy worth $5 million, and he drives a beat up pickup truck.
Right.
He's worth $5 million. His company brings in $1 million a year, and it's I don't know, 70% profit. I mean, he's a 1%er in income for sure. I'll let you know, just to give you an insight, for I don't know, a little under 2 years, I had my Porsche 911 Turbo.
Yep.
10% of it, maybe 10, 15, 20 was clout. It's like, wow, this is cool. People are going to like, not really people are going to like me, but knowing that it does help get more attractive women to a point. It's not a game changer. It's not. But I'd say 85% it's a dream car. Yeah. And honestly, some guys just want that because ever since they are 10 years old, they're like, this is the coolest thing, totally. And it's just fun. And it's like, well, damn, I mean, what else am I going to spend my money on? I got everything else I want. And so
Totally.
why not just and my car before that was a BMW that was a fancy car, nice car, but retail was about a third. You know, I mean, it was a $65,000 car, but it was a third of what the turbo was. And, you know, again, that was a dream car too. And it was just like, so some guys want nice cars just because they think it's cool as shit.
Totally
But
cool.
there are some guys that do it more for the clout. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's an extension of their private parts, right?
Yeah, and I'll be honest,
For some guys.
probably 15% of the reason I did it is like it's cool to get some clout, you know.
Yeah.
But
So
you
it
know, I don't
extends
even
their
have a
private
car now.
parts.
What's that?
It extends their private parts.
Yeah.
If the guy's got a nice car, it's not a no for me. I love nice things and nice cars, but
Yeah.
is it an extension of their private parts, or is it just because they like fun cars, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
is there depth? If there's no depth to the man, right, then I don't care what they drive. It ain't gonna move the needle for me, right?
Yeah.
And Ryan, you've got a tremendous amount of depth. So that wasn't your issue at all.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, probably 15% was, yeah, you know, people are gonna say cool car, and some girls are gonna be quite interested in that, and I'd be more attractive because I had one. So 15% probably was that, but really 85% was, dude, it's a 911 turbo. This is awesome. I can afford it. Why not? You know.
Yeah, you
Anyways,
could, and you loved it, and
yeah,
you got
it
rid
was
of
awesome.
it to go to Mexico.
And then
so
now I'm living another part of my dream.
Right.
And trust me, Mexico City is freaking awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of fun stuff to do here. Food's great, people are great. The dating is women actually by default treat men with respect here. You don't necessarily get that in the United States. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. There is a comment here. Teresa's quite wholesome. You'd be interested to hear her personal opinion about attraction triggers. So attraction trigger, you know, is just anything women seeing a guy, his muscles, you know, confidence. I mean, are there different attraction triggers? If you see a guy who's maybe takes good care of himself and his looks is 6 out of 10, like natural looks, but he's not overweight. If he's not overweight in today's world, he's probably a 7 out of 10 because he's in shape, he's well groomed, wears decent clothes, decent style. But his real main selling point is he is just a determined, ambitious, on his purpose, kicking ass, and a decent human being too. And then there's a guy who's like literally 10 out of 10, like GQ underwear model. Do you feel more sexual attraction to the amazing looking guy, or can you feel just as much or more to the guy who's a 7 out of 10? Who is so much better in every other way, has all the depth, all of that? Will you literally feel more? Can you feel more or as sexually attracted to that guy as a 10 out of 10? How do you think it is with women? Or do you think you're attracted and you want to have, you know, women want to have sex with that 7 out of 10 guy, but they're with him because he has all these other things, but it's not necessarily sexual desire?
Oh, I think women are.
I'm asking the questions our audience wants to know.
Yeah. Well, for me, right, I can only answer for me, but what I know about other women as well, look, a 10 out of 10 can be intimidating.
In looks only.
Looks only can be intimidating.
He's boring beyond that, or just maybe not super boring, but just, yeah.
I remember dating a 10 out of 10 guy in college, and he was God bless him, he was as dumb as a doorknob. I just remember thinking that. And he was so good looking. And I was flattered back then that he was into me. And I just couldn't date him. There was no depth, no intelligence, nothing. To me, I'll take a 5 out of 10 look wise if he's got everything else going for him. And you know, the more
will you actually be sexually attracted to that 5 out of 10 looks?
Absolutely.
And what is it about female nature that will actually make a woman sexually attracted to the guy who has masculine traits? He's alpha mindset. He's on his game. He's kicking ass, but looks he's 5 out of 10.
You just said it. All that is so important. That the whole package.
So that literally turns a woman on.
What specific would for me?
That can turn a woman on. All these other qualities other than looks can actually turn a woman on.
Absolutely. And you know what could turn me off is if they're not emotionally self-aware, if they're victims, if they trash, you know, their ex-wife or their ex-girlfriend, or if they, you know, trash their kids. I can't tell you how many dates I've been on where guys are trashing their kids, and it's an immediate turnoff, like immediate.
Terrible.
So I will say one thing: the more I've healed myself, my inside game, my inner feminine, the more expansive my attraction to men has become. Where it used to be a certain type of guy I could be into, now that has expanded. I find
So
it
there's
fascinating.
qualities you didn't find attractive before that you find attractive now.
It's not as important anymore. I don't have to have a really super good looking hot guy for me to be attracted to him. All the other
stuff. Did you need that in your 20s? How big of a priority was that?
When I was the guy I married was a 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. My ex-husband was an absolute 10. And he was a good man and he was smart. You know, he had other things, but he was a really good looking guy. Super good looking guy.
So Joshua, and this is a very good question. What is the difference between attraction versus arousal? In the manosphere, we talk about women being attracted to men and then sexually aroused by them, like it's two different things.
Energy. What is their energy? So I could be attracted to a lot of guys. I'm not necessarily going to be aroused by a lot of guys. What is their energy? What energy do they bring to the table? Mm-hmm. It is an energetic game.
Yeah. And I tell guys this all the time. Upgrade your inner game and your attractiveness to women on a scale of 1 to 10 goes up a full point.
Absolutely.
And I've experienced, dude, it might go up more than a full point. I remember, I'm going to just do this real quick to kind of show the old me, because you see my energy now. This version of me, I have video of me like 15 years ago. And the old energy was so weak compared to now. So I'm going to share my screen. And let me tell you, you get this new energy. Now, I'm not claiming to be Mr., hyper alpha perfect, but my energy is way better than before. Actually, I mean, come on. Fuck it. My energy is pretty damn good. If you disagree, fuck off. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I don't sincerely mean that, but hey, some people don't like my energy, whatever. Everyone has different tastes. That's okay. But here's me from 15 years ago. And this guy got ghosted and flaked on like crazy. Now it's not. The universe is conspiring. It doesn't want to share this. I'm getting a pause here. Okay. Let's see. All right. Here's me 15 years ago. Just watch this energy. All right. This background noise.
His job. Okay. And so a protector does not actually control or manage those trust assets, but he can veto trustee actions, and he can fire and replace the trustee if he thinks that that's appropriate. And usually a protector will try and place offshore as well.
All right. Do you see a difference in the energy?
You were a nerdy geek for sure back then.
How much confidence was there?
And there was not a lot of attractive energy oozing from you.
Yeah.
And I say that with love. And
I don't care. I'm cool now. It doesn't matter.
I know you're totally cool now. So yeah, no, you're a 180-degree different person.
Dude, I changed my core, and even in the United States, it's harder to date than Mexico. I was successful, attractive women were not a problem for me to get. Getting like the really, really gorgeous ones was once in a blue moon. I would get that. Like I'm talking like the really gorgeous ones every now and then, but that was difficult. But attractive women, no problem. I did in the United States, even when I was 45, 48, getting these attractive women with genuine burning desire. When I was back then in that energy before, oh man, just so much ghosting, so much flaking, maybe get a first date, second dates were really hard for me to get. And it was just, my hairstyle wasn't as good back then as now. I dress somewhat better now, but really 90% of it was just the energy. It makes a huge, 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 huge difference. It really does. So That's number one. Relationship with yourself is number one by far. You learn how to have just innate confidence, love yourself, value yourself, approve yourself. You want success with women, that's the number one thing you can do. And then everything else leads from it. If you value yourself, you're going to dress better. You're going to take care of yourself more. You know, all of that. So you would say, what is it? Can women be attracted to a guy and want to be with him, but not be aroused by him? Because that's a big thing in that we discuss among men. It can women be attracted but not want to have sex with the guy? Or if you're attracted, are you going to be also sexually attracted to some degree?
No, I think there's a difference. I think I can be attracted to a lot of guys and want to put them in the friend zone, right? And not be aroused by them. And so attraction and arousal are two different things. Absolutely. You can be, there could be attraction and sorry guys, but you're going to be put in the friend zone. You've got to bring the game. You've got to bring the energy.
So
remember, women want to be taken. Like you need to have that energy where women feel like, oh my gosh, this guy can take me in dating. Absolutely. Without that. If that's not there, it's going to be lukewarm. Not that it can't be developed later, right? But
I kind of view it as, you tell me, I kind of look at it from the standpoint of women want a men who are pursuing them, and you can tell the men are pursuing them to close a deal, whether it's seduction or they're kind of like a hunter trying to go out. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get this girl. You know what I mean?
So there's a difference between pursuing energy and chasing energy. There's a difference between, like a man sees something that he wants and the woman gets the feel that he wants her and he's making it happen.
That's a turn on.
But that he doesn't need her or he hasn't elevated her to a place.
That's abundance mindset, by the way.
Right. It's an energy.
I want her, but hey, if it doesn't work out with her, there are other options. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool. Just a few more of the comments. And thanks for putting up with our grilling, Teresa, my grilling, but also the viewers are asking. Thanks for taking my question. Last name pronounced with silent A. Fantasy. Okay, good to know.
Fantasy.
Like
sounds
a fantasy.
Fantasy.
Yeah. Energy, massively important. I interviewed this salesman, Jorge Diaz, who he actually got hired by Jordan Belfort as a sales manager, but we upgraded his internal game, and he said his sales quadrupled by upgrading his energy. Yeah, from 0 to hero. Well, it's inner game. Yeah.
Inner game. And Ryan, I've known you all that time, right?
You have. You remember me when I was that guy.
Yeah.
I've
known you. Maybe not 15 years, but a long time. Yeah.
Like 2008 or so, I think, is when we first met. So you get your inner game right, and then it's only a matter of time before the outer world catches up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see the difference. All I can see is the in subject being talked about. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about there, but do you have any comments?
I don't see the difference in energies. It's palpable. Okay. The difference in energy is palpable. You may not see it in yourself. Just start watching people's energy. Just start watching like how people land for you.
People who have natural charisma and they're authentic. They just have this natural magnetism.
No offense, Eagle Cloud. Just observe people and observe how people make you feel. And you might be familiar with the concept of energy vampires, where somebody walks in the room and they suck the energy out of the room, and
that's my mom.
The lights dim.
Sorry, Mom.
And there are people that walk in a room and they just like radiate. Everyone's excited because they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Start observing energy. You'll start seeing the difference there.
A great example of that is the late great Sean Stevenson. He was 3.5 feet tall. He was in a wheelchair. He'd go into a party. Is the life of every party.
Yeah.
And he got a PhD in hypnotherapy, by the way. And he was a multimillionaire. And he married an attractive lady, even though he's a 3.5 or maybe under 3 foot tall, cripple in a wheelchair. What's that?
I didn't know he had his PhD. I knew he was married. He was a beautiful man, but I did not know he had his PhD. That's amazing.
Amazing human being, and he was the center of every party. He would super confident. He would tell the best stories, the best jokes. Everyone would just grab it. And here he is. I think he was 2'8" or something, and just distorted and contorted, you know, because he had all these broken bones and deformities. Had an attractive wife. Made millions of dollars, spoke at Tony Robbins events, got his PhD. That guy was the freaking Yoda of our time, man. So it's huge. All right. So, okay. Thank you. You're very welcome, sir. Fantuzzi, an Italian, but still thanks for the compliment. Fantuzzi sounds cool to me. Sean Stevenson, absolute G. Watches, his TED Talk about loving yourself at, I think, is Folsom Prison. Core people who are taken off in life and happy, it's because they got self-love, self-belief. They value their ability and value, and because of that, they naturally have boundaries. If someone tries to disrespect them, they don't put up with it because they love themselves. And then a woman's like, damn, that guy has some balls. I'm gonna go over and talk to him, or I'm gonna flirt with him until he talks to me. It's huge. So all right, anything else to add? Yeah, gosh, cool, man. I'll you know, go on my website, Intermasculine, book a session, but also I haven't advertised this. I'm going to start advertising it more. Intermasculinehealing.com, or sorry, intermasculinehealing.com, new website. If you go there and take the questionnaire, you can actually get a free 30-minute consult with me, no charge. Intermasculinehealing.com. Underneath the video, there's a questionnaire. You fill it out. It'll let you schedule a free 30-minute consult with me. I'll do whatever I can to help you for 30 minutes. You know, it's probably going to lead to me saying, hey, do this to upgrade your life, get a session or whatever, but there's no obligation, and I'll help you however I can for 30 minutes. That's how I am. I help people. It's why I'm doing this full time now. So, you know, women, it's not unconditional love, and you got to keep your game up, guys, to keep the ladies interested. Even a lot of men, once they get married, women let themselves go after marriage. Not all, but a lot. Same thing with men. They're like, oh, I reached the finish line, and then they let down their guard, and then then the woman loses attraction. So there are other dynamics there, but would you agree overall that that's more or less true? It's like, guys, you still gotta be on your purpose, be authentic, learn how to love yourself, and have this energy women find attractive that's going to lead you to take care of yourself, be on your mission, go after what you want. You're doing that, you're sexy as hell to the good women, the toxic ones, who cares? Would you agree that's true?
Yeah, it's you know, that's where self-love comes in. You're doing it for the relationship, certainly, but you've got to do it for yourself, right? You have to absolutely have a standard for yourself and meet that standard. You cannot let yourself go in a relationship. So
100%. Anything else to add, Teresa?
No, Ryan, I think this has been a really interesting conversation, and I'm excited to unpack all the other topics that have come up today in future shows.
Yep. I think we got a month's worth of weekly shows with you now, based
At
on
least. Yeah,
just riffing on everything here. So that's our show for today, guys, ladies and gents. And thank you for Teresa for your valuable input. One of the things I love about Teresa is she actually is very honest. A lot of stuff women won't be honest about. You go on these dating websites, I want this guy with this and that, and it's like, you want a hot stud too. Come on, ladies. You know, but she'll be upfront about it. And so I very much appreciate your honesty, because a lot of guys want to hear it from a woman who's actually totally 100% straight up. That can be hard to find in today's world. So we do appreciate that, Teresa. That's our show for today. Up-level yourselves. Starts with the inside world, then you up-level your outside world. You can do it. We'll show you how. Intermasculine.com. Teresa Kuhn is Inner Feminine. That is our show. You have more power than you know.